This Reddit story is called A Parallel Life. My last semester at a certain college, I was assaulted by a football player for walking where he was trying to drive. He was like 325 pounds. I was 220. While unconscious on the ground, I lived a different life. I met a wonderful young lady, and she made my heart skip a beat and made me red in the face. I pursued her for months and even had to dispatch a few jerk boyfriends before I finally won her over. After 2 years, we got married, and then we had a daughter. I had a great job, and my wife didn't have to work. When my daughter was 2, we had a son. My son was the joy of my life. I would walk to his room every morning before I left for work in the morning and kissed him and my daughter. One day, while sitting on the couch, I noticed that my perspective of the lamp was odd and inverted. I was transfixed. I couldn't look away from it, and I stayed up all night staring at it. The next morning, I didn't go to work. Something just did not sit right about that lamp. I stopped eating, and I left the couch only to use the bathroom at first. Soon, I stopped doing that too. I wasn't eating or drinking. I just stared at that fucking lamp for like 3 days before my wife was starting to get worried. She had someone come and try to talk to me. By this time, my conscience was breaking up and my wife was freaking out. She took our 2 kids to her mother's just before I had an epiphany. The lamp was not real. The house was not real. My wife, my kids, none of it was real. The lamp started to grow wider and deeper and started inverting dimensions. It took up my entire perspective and all I could see was red. I started to hear voices, screams, and all types of weird noises. And that's when I started to feel pain in the back of my head. My teeth are missing. There was lots of freaking out and I was completely confused. At some point, a cop scooped me up and dragged me across the sidewalk and grass, then threw me face down in the cop car. I was still confused. I was taken to the hospital by the cop. Seems like he didn't want to wait for the ambulance. And then they gave me a bunch of CT scans. I went through 3 years of horrid depressions. I was grieving the loss of my wife and children that didn't even exist. I was scared that I was going insane, and as I would cry myself to sleep, hoping I would see her in my dreams. I never have, but sometimes I see my son, usually just a glimpse out of my peripheral vision. He is perpetually 5 years old, and I can never hear what he says.